psART's team, and today I am going to be leading you in a tie-dye to-go project. Tie-dye really began its popularity in the 1960s during the Woodstock era, the hippie movement, free love, and so you saw it a lot then, but it has also made a resurgence now and is super popular. Tie-dye is thought to really have come from the ancient Japanese art shibori dyeing. So you see a lot of similarities between the two techniques. So to get started today, you're just going to need a few items. You're going to want to start off by mixing your dye and having that ready to go at hand. You also are going to want some rubber bands and the material you will be using to dye. Super important is that you are going to want some plastic gloves because it does get pretty messy. And then you're going to want some Ziploc bags to put your dyed material into. So let's get started. So once you have completed the dyeing process and put your fabric or material into the Ziploc bag, you are going to want to let it set. A good amount of time is probably between 5 and 6 hours. The longer you let it set, the darker or more vibrant the color is going to be. So this is something to consider, just depending on how you want your final piece of fabric to look in the end. Once it has set for an appropriate amount of time, you are going to want to start the rinsing process. So to do this, you are going to want to do it at your kitchen sink or outside in your backyard, just someplace that the dye is not going to stain anything. So really consider that this is still a messy process. So the first thing you want to do is put on the plastic gloves, because again, it's messy and you don't want to get the dye on your hands. And then you're going to want to remove the fabric from the Ziploc bag and cut off the rubber bands. And then you will want to start the rinsing. You want to do so with cold water, and you want to rinse it very thoroughly until all of the dye is removed and the water runs clear. At this point, you're pretty much done with the project. You're just going to want to let your fabric dry. You can do this outside, on a clothing line, or inside. Again, whatever is most appropriate or feels best for your home. Once it's done drying, you have your final product. So the two pieces that I dyed today came out pretty differently. The first one is more of a simple design and is pretty monochromatic, which I like. This is more reminiscent of the shibori style dyeing process. And so just really depending on how you want your fabric or t-shirt to look, you may want to use a lot of color or less color. It's really up to you. The other fabric that I dyed is maybe more of a traditional tie-dye look. I really do like how this came out. I think it's something that's fun and colorful and vibrant, and I really like the design. So again, it's up to you. You can use one color or several colors. You do want to consider that if you are using more than one color, to be pretty particular about placing the dye, because if you use too much, it's going to become muddied and it will turn kind of just like a brownish color, and that's probably not what you want to see in your fabric. So just be pretty careful when you're actually dyeing the fabric if you're using more than one or two colors. Other than that, really once it dries, your piece of fabric or your t-shirt is done. One strong note to consider is that if you wash and when you wash your t-shirt or fabric, for the first few times, you're going to want to wash it separately from any other clothes, because there could be some dye remaining and you don't want to stain anything else. So just be really careful the first few times you're washing the material. So thank you for joining me today, and always remember that you have the freedom to imagine and the power to create. Bye.